Hi, everybody. I had a huge idea sink in for me today around a couple hours ago when I was driving back from my parents' place. And I'm not sure exactly what prompted it, really. I was doing one of my typical meditations and introspective. I do devotional practices and working with a lot of symbology and my own beliefs and practices. And it just, I don't know, after, once because at least once a week I do a dedicated, deeply introspective, meditative practice, self-examination, reading, anything like that. And I try to do it on Sunday, but it doesn't have to be on Sunday. But today, in this particular day, I was doing that, and I was thinking about, how certain areas of my life I've had more challenge with, and I've been focused on developing my own power, being more, authentic with who I am, feeling confident in who I am, feeling courageous as I am. And this idea just sunk in for me, and it's really interesting because, Christianity interprets it rather literally. Some people who study the Bible interpret this rather literally. And there's some merit to it, but I also think that it's allegorical and symbolic. And it's on the concept of idolatry. And I was also, after it came to me, this idea of I just realized that I've been the target of and the participant in idolization. And by the way, right now, I keep pointing this the wrong way. Right now, I'm just doing my laundry. It's a small load of laundry this time, but I thought I'd do my laundry while I bring up this idea. And I thought to myself, one thing I've always struggled with is connecting with, people who I could have a potential romantic relationship with. And people would always call me a romantic and an idealist. My friends in particular call me that because they know me really well. My family knows me well. And, excuse me, my leggings. And then I thought to myself, well, I have always had a challenge with feeling like no one I'm ever interested in is interested in me. And then I was just reading a little bit about letting go of obsession, which is a pretty common thing that people talk about in certain, dating and therapy circles, and letting go of old patterns that aren't healthy, cultivating healthy love. And I thought to myself, well, in one of my devotionals, they talked a bit about idolization. And I thought to myself that what's important now is understanding why idolization can be hurtful, why it is harmful, at least in my viewpoint. And I believe that there's two sides to it. Basically, for me, idolization isn't about what it's literally interpreted as. To me, it's about wanting something or a certain outcome, or a person, and placing all of the power on them and placing them above you, the outcome above you. And it's a, you know, the equivalent of having a constant wordless conversation with this thing that you want, this desire that you want, over yourself. And this was also inspired by certain, you know, things that I was reading online that made so much sense to me. And then I thought about how the outside world has a tendency to influence us. And in the world around us, almost from babyhood, we're saturated with ideas of idolization. You know, we're taught that this idolization is good. We're taught, you know, and it can make a lot of people money, I guess. So far, I don't know what else it can do. But in my view, it's ultimately really not healthy. It's not good. It's confused with love a lot. And honestly, I feel like the reason a lot of people who are idolized, typically, I guess you could call them celebrities, but notable figures, a lot of the reason we idolize them and the reason they get burned out is because they're taking on everyone's projections and expectations at a mass scale. And, you know, psychologically, maybe subconsciously, you pick up on that. And it's a form of objectification. And even if you're a good-hearted person who wants to really place your love in with this person or with this outcome or with this experience you want, you are objectifying it and placing its power over you and your true power and your true sense of love and well-being, and you're giving projections and illusions and unhealthy insecurities about yourself and what you want to be on that person or on that outcome or on money or an addiction or shopping, or, you know, there's any number of things that you could be idolizing or having placed power over you. And I'm so sorry, my voice, by the way, is irritated, and so it sounds a little bit gravelly. We're at that point of the winter where my throat and my lungs get sensitive, so I have to be gentle with it. But I'll try and speak without the gravel sound if it's bothersome. But anyway, I thought I'd talk a bit about, you know, why that's unhealthy and what. And by the way, I want to just state again, I'm not a therapist. These are just personal thoughts that come to mind. I go to therapy. I do what I need to do to take care of myself and my mental well-being. And I think a lot about these things, and they do it only for expansion of my own self-awareness. If you feel like this is something that helps you, that's wonderful. I just hope that if you really do need professional opinions on what I'm saying here, I highly recommend going to a trained professional who can help you unpack it and interpret it in a way that is meaningful for you. I just like, you know, I haven't done this very often, but I turn on the camera when I have a huge realization, and I like to share it. You know, it's a good thing to have an open discussion about. And it's really just, I'm beginning to realize that the channel I have here, I think it's just all about living a really amazing life and making it better for yourself and others. And I'm in the process of learning how to do that to the best way possible, and just sharing in all the things that make life beautiful and help you be better, and how you know, I'm learning along with you. And so back to the conversation, people frequently, due to this, you know, saturation and being surrounded by this idea of idolization in the mass culture represented, especially in like Western culture. People frequently confuse idolization for love. People frequently confuse attachment, codependency, a lot of things for genuine love. They confuse it a lot because, you know, most people haven't learned how to let that go. And, you know, I've been in that situation too. When you idolize something or you idolize someone, you're placing power on it, your doubts and your insecurities, and you're basically saying, through that action, you're saying, I don't believe in myself enough to value my own power. I'll place it on you. And when you do that, you're actually objectifying the person, and that's why I think frequently we are repulsed by it when we become the target, or as we hear often, quote unquote, the object of affection. It's objectification. It is not healthy. It cannot result in anything healthy. And that's a good thing to realize. And I'm not saying at all that you can't have certain experiences that you want to have. I'm just thinking that it's a lot harder to experience healthy, happy outcomes in life if you're taking your own inner power and demeaning it through projecting and idolizing on other people. And I would much rather be loved, genuinely loved, and genuinely admired, and genuinely appreciated over being idolized. People, you know, I hear that some people want to have someone obsessed with them, or have throngs of fans and a lot of popularity, but it always sounds very surface level, and I never liked that. And I would never want any of that. I only want, when it comes to anything, I only want to ever appreciate myself and therefore know myself better, so that I can bring more into people's lives that bring them happiness, be my best self, show up as my best self, and contribute things that are meaningful and help people live a better life. I mean, I look at people who are called celebrities. I look at them, and then I look at people who are admired, and I find that the people who are admired are people who are more likely to be, you know, people who have left really powerful impacts on the world, like scientists and inventors, humanitarian people who put in the work to be true humanitarians, people who have made a lot of changes to the environment, which, by the way, are more now needed more than ever. Researchers, those people are more inclined to be admired rather than idolized. And they leave a legacy behind that's really amazing. And I think that people in the arts and actors and celebrities are, they do contribute something good. But I think that the way we objectify them and turn them into this quote unquote point of worship that's incredibly unhealthy, we need to change that and the way we see that, because I don't think that it's possible to really have authentic love and a true experience of love in all its forms without letting go of dropping all of that, dropping attachment, dependency, and the patterns that perpetuate it, idolization, everything associated with it. And You know, that's a huge thing to realize. And then so far what I've understood is that love is freedom. It's freedom from all those things. And being in touch with your own power and not feeling like you're demanding of anyone else to validate your well-being or who you are or your power. You're actually letting that go, and in that you are most able to receive and give love. And then, you know, there's so many things associated with being over-attached or needing something to be a certain way in order to feel like you're powerful. It doesn't go that way. That's the wrong, it's the reverse of that. And that's, you know, it should start with you, I think. It should start with how you feel first, and your true power, and placing faith in yourself over anything else that is the outcome of you being in that state of mind. And I have a lot of inspirations and influences from that, but ultimately that's how it condensed down for me, is to understand that if I want to have an amazing life, I need to have faith in my own true power and understand it, rather than placing any projection on anything outside or anything that is just an effect, a desire, anything like that. You just end up taking the power and placing it where it belongs, which is with you. And this is also why I think art is extremely important, because it teaches you how to take control over everything you experience in the process of creating art. It helps you to recognize where the outcome of your experiences come from. And it also can teach you so many more things. But when it, you know, if I'm referencing relationships in particular, you can create a beautiful, healthy relationship and know exactly where that comes from. Something equal, peaceful, loving, mutual, liberating. Or you can make it into something where it's unequal and imbalanced, and it's unhealthy for everybody, tiny burp, excuse me. And so I just thought I'd come on and talk a bit about that. And it's just one singular idea. I hope that I put out something somewhat coherent, and I hope that this is food for thought. And I would love to hear if anyone has anything to add to this. Idea that I've put out there, this realization that I've put out there. I'd love to hear it. I take on all opinions as long as they are respectful and civil. I listen to all sides as long as it comes through civil and respectful. Because to me, it's important to have discussions. Even if you don't agree with something, it's always good to listen to other viewpoints. Within reason, of course. I'm not going to support things like racism or misogyny, but I will listen to people when they have a reasonable opposing opinion, or if they have something to add, or they have an additional realization tied to whatever topic we're discussing. I love doing things like that. It's very eye-opening, and it can really bring people together. So also with the direction of this channel, I feel like I was mentioning just a few minutes ago that it's a big deal for me, trying to come up with a core idea of this channel. And I really think it's just going to be about life experience and maybe just many different things. And I love the idea of being a Renaissance person and just really experiencing many things and learning many things, because it helps expand your awareness and your understanding, and helps you live a better life ultimately, and be a person who is a good contributor to the world around them. And so refining that idea, it's a work in progress, and it will start to make more sense as time goes on. And that's, so far, that's what I've come up with. So I just thought I'd share that, and I am so grateful to have you here. Thank you for being here, and you have a wonderful day wherever you may be watching this. Bye.